You've been creating reality all along. Every thought you think, every feeling you hold, every breath you take, it all radiates outward. It doesn't stop inside you. It moves through the space around you, weaving into the field that connects everything. The truth is, you're already influencing energy. Most people just do it unconsciously, scattering their focus, leaking their power, and then calling the results luck or fate. But randomness is only what life looks like when you're unaware of the signals you're resending. The shift begins the moment you realize the so-called outer world is not separate from you. It's a mirror, reflecting the quality of your inner vibration. And when you finally see this, life starts aligning in ways that seem almost impossible to explain. Here's the deeper truth. You are not outside of the energy you want to change. You're immersed in it. You're an expression of the same field you're trying to influence, and that field listens. Not to your words, not to your effort, but to the frequency of your state. This is the hidden connection. The subconscious current that shapes everything. Think back to the last time you just knew something before it happened, or when a perfect opportunity appeared out of nowhere. Those weren't accidents. They were responses to the vibrations you were already broadcasting. And here's what most people miss. Your conscious mind isn't running the show. It's your subconscious. It doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you actually believe, what you consistently feel, and what you expect by default. That's why affirmations without emotion fall flat. That's why a vision mixed with doubt collapses. Because the subconscious is the gateway. Until you open that door, you're just polishing the surface. Think of it this way. Your thoughts are like signals. Your emotions charge those signals. And your subconscious alignment determines whether they come through clear or distorted. Together, they can create static, or they can create coherence. A signal strong enough for reality to echo back. So the question isn't, am I influencing energy? It's, am I doing it with clarity? Your life right now. Your relationships, your opportunities, your obstacles is a snapshot of the signals you've been sending up until this very moment. That's not judgment, that's resonance. When you finally see this, you stop blaming chance. You stop feeling like a victim of destiny. You realize you've been shaping the story all along, only without awareness. And here is the relief. You don't need to control every thought or micromanage every feeling. That would be exhausting. And it's not how the field works. You don't need perfection. You need a dominant signal, a clear, steady vibration, strong enough that small doubts can't shake it. You become the steady flame, not the flickering spark. And when your subconscious alignment finally matches your conscious intention, the field responds instantly. Synchronicities multiply. Opportunities flow. Life bends toward you in ways that feel almost supernatural. Not because you worked harder, but because your transmission became cleaner. Most people live split. They say they want love, but radiate fear. Say they want abundance, but breathe lack. The field isn't fooled by words. It reads your state, your breath, your presence, your vibration. That's why subconscious alignment is everything. And the moment you tune it, everything begins to move. Not by force, but by coherence. Because you've been creating reality all along. Now, it's time to create on purpose. If you could learn to consciously influence this process, to amplify the signal you're already sending, to remove the static, to synchronize your inner world with the quantum field, what would become possible for you? What if the dream life you've been chasing is not something to be built step by step, but something to be tuned into, like a frequency that's been waiting for you to dial it in? Pause with me on that thought. If you were already influencing the energy field without trying, if you were already sending signals that shape your reality, if you were already half creating quantum events without awareness, what happens when you bring full awareness into the process? In the next block, we'll explore exactly how to do that. How to create coherence between your mind, heart, and body, so you can turn scattered energy into a command signal the field can't ignore. This is where it moves from theory to practice. But before we go there, let me ask you this. Are you ready to unlock that next level? So, here we are standing at the edge between scattered intention and coherent influence. Up until now, You've been sending signals to the field without a manual, often without realizing which part of you was in control. But here's the truth. Not all signals are created equal. The power to truly manipulate energy and create quantum events comes not from trying harder, but from aligning the systems inside you so that your message to the field becomes unmistakable. This is where coherence comes in. You see, most people walk around in energetic noise. Their mind says one thing, their heart feels another, and their body does something entirely different. This creates interference, a tangled mess of frequencies that cancel each other out. And when the field receives mixed signals, it doesn't know how to respond. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while blasting static through the speakers. No matter how close you are to the right frequency, the noise will drown it out. But coherence changes everything. When your brain waves, heart rhythms, and nervous system enter into a state of alignment, you become a tuning fork for the reality you want to experience. Your thoughts stop contradicting your emotions. Your desires stop fighting your beliefs. Your body stops acting like the enemy of your mind. And in that moment, the signal you send out is no longer a whisper. It's a command. Research shows that the heart produces an electromagnetic field many times stronger than the brain. This field doesn't just stay inside your chest. It radiates outward, influencing people, events, and environments around you. And when you combine coherent heart energy with focused intention from the brain, you create a broadcast signal that interacts with the quantum field in a profoundly organized way. But here's the real magic. You don't need to be perfect to do this. You don't need to control every negative thought or suppress every difficult emotion. Coherence is not perfection, it's dominance. It's about creating a strong enough baseline of alignment that the occasional wave of chaos doesn't throw you off course. So, how do you do it? You start with awareness. Notice when your body is tense, when your mind is racing, when your breath is shallow. Bring yourself back to the body. Slow the breath. Calm the heart. Drop into the moment. Then, set a clear intention, not from desperation, but from trust. Picture the outcome you want. Feel the emotion of already having it, and let your body memorize that state. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You stop chasing reality and you start magnetizing it. People often ask, how long does it take to see results? The better question is, how long are you willing to practice coherence until it becomes who you are, not just what you do? Because when this alignment becomes your default, the field has no choice but to respond. Now, I want to pause here and invite you into something important. If this message is resonating with you, if you're starting to feel that inner click, that sense of this is what I've been missing, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Not because I'm asking for numbers, but because this space is designed to help you stay in resonance with these ideas. And if you're ready to take this conversation deeper, share with me in the comments. What's one area of your life where you feel most out of coherence right now? It doesn't have to be a confession or a weakness. Think of it as a doorway, the entry point, where transformation can begin, and when you name it, you begin to loosen its grip. So let's carry this forward. You've now understood the difference between scattered energy and aligned energy, but the next layer is where things get really interesting. Because coherence alone isn't enough. There's a deeper mechanism in play, a dance between you and the field that determines whether your intentions collapse into actual events. You're about to discover the hidden architecture behind quantum manifestation, the mechanics of probability, expectation, and wave collapse. We're going to explore how small shifts inside you ripple outward and reorganize the very fabric of your reality. Stay with me, because we'll uncover why some people experience quantum leaps and synchronicities effortlessly, while others feel stuck in the same loops no matter how hard they try. So now you know coherence is your access point. But alignment alone is only part of the equation. To truly influence the field, you need to understand the dance of probability, the invisible game happening beneath every moment of your life. Because here's the secret most people overlook. The universe doesn't deliver your desires just because you want them. It delivers what you're tuned to expect. Let me explain. In quantum physics, we talk about wave functions. possibilities that exist simultaneously until something collapses them into a single outcome. At the subatomic level, reality is a shimmering soup of probabilities waiting to crystallize into form. But what collapses the wave? What decides which version of reality becomes the one you experience? The observer, not the passive observer, not the one watching life from the sidelines, but the active observer, the one whose focus, expectation, and belief act as the needle that weaves potential into form. And this is where most people get stuck. They practice their visualizations, they set their intentions, they repeat their affirmations, but underneath all of it, they carry an invisible script of doubt, fear, and limitation. They look at their bank account and expect lack. They look at their relationships and expect rejection. They look at their body and expect failure. And so the field obliges not because it's punishing them, but because it's responding to the dominant signal. Your conscious mind can say, "I'm abundant." But if your subconscious is running the program, there's never enough. The field listens to the deeper broadcast. This is why so many people feel stuck. Even when they're doing all the right things, they're trying to override the subconscious with surface-level rituals, without addressing the core expectations shaping their field. Here's where the real magic begins. When you start aligning not just your thoughts, but your beliefs and assumptions, you begin to shift probabilities in the quantum field. Tiny changes in how you hold yourself, how you think, how you feel. These are the levers that tip reality in your favor. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You just have to create enough momentum that the wave function begins to tilt toward your desired outcome. Imagine you're walking through a hallway lined with doors. Each door represents a possible version of the next moment, the next day, the next chapter. You don't open all of them. You open the one you expect to open. And that expectation is shaped by your dominant state, your subconscious story, your felt sense of possibility. This is why people who shift internally often experience sudden, unexpected external changes. They've altered the baseline. Probability in the universe has no choice but to reorganize itself to match. But here's the catch. Expectation isn't something you can fake. You can't chant "I'm wealthy" while secretly feeling terrified of your bills and expect the field to reward you. The field isn't fooled by words. It listens to vibration. So the real work becomes softening the grip of limiting assumptions, loosening the knots of resistance, and gradually training your body, mind, and heart to hold a new baseline of possibility. What does that look like in practice? It looks like noticing when you shrink in fear and breathing through it instead of collapsing. It looks like catching yourself expecting the worst and choosing even for a moment to imagine the best. It looks like rehearsing success in your nervous system, not just in your mind. And over time, something shifts. The probability field begins to reorganize. Events align. Synchronicities stack. Doors you didn't even know existed swing open. Not because you forced the universe into submission, but because you became a clear enough signal for the version of reality you wanted to live. Now, let's pause here. Can you feel what's stirring inside you? Can you sense the places where your old expectations have been quietly shaping your life without your permission? Good. That awareness is the doorway, because what we're about to explore next is the paradox at the heart of all of this. The reason why so many people sabotage their own manifestation efforts without realizing it. It's the missing piece that turns scattered attempts at change into profound, stable shifts. What if I told you that the real key isn't control, but surrender? Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to uncover why letting go paradoxically gives you more influence over the field than trying to dominate it ever could. Let's move forward. Here's where most people get it backwards. We've been taught to hustle, to push, to grind our way toward the life we want. And while that can get you results in the material world, it creates friction when you apply it. 2. The quantum field. Why? Because the field doesn't respond to force. It responds to alignment. And alignment often feels like surrender. Now, let me be clear. Surrender is not resignation. It's not giving up on what you want. It's not passivity or laziness. True surrender is releasing the need to micromanage how your desires come to life. It's trusting the intelligence of the field to organize the details while you hold the frequency of your outcome. Think of it like planting a seed. You don't yank it out of the ground every day to see if it's growing. You tend the soil. you water it. You trust the process. And the paradox is the less you interfere with anxious, grasping energy, the faster things bloom. When you surrender, you stop sending mixed signals. You stop saying, "I trust," while secretly obsessing over the outcome. You stop pretending to let go while energetically clinging. And when you truly release control, the subconscious connection, the back door to the field opens wider than ever. This is the art of surrendered influence. Here's what most people miss. Your subconscious can't be bullied into alignment. You can't force yourself into coherence. But you can. Invite Italiano. You can create conditions where your nervous system relaxes, where your breath deepens, where your heart softens, and where your energy stops vibrating in desperation. When you do this, something magical happens. You stop being the seeker, and you become the signal. You stop chasing, and you start drawing. You stop trying to manifest, and you become the embodiment of what you desire in the field. It listens. It delivers. Not as a reward, but as a mirror. There's a deep trust woven into the heart of quantum creation. It's the trust that says, if I align, the universe aligns. If embody reality. If I become, the world reflects. But here's the challenge. Surrender feels unnatural to a mind trained in control. We want timelines, guarantees, evidence. We want to know when and how things will happen. Yet, the more you demand certainty, the more you slip into resistance. The tighter you grip, the more the field tightens in response. So, the work becomes paradoxical. You set the intention, you align the vibration, and then you release. You stop micromanaging the timeline. You stop panicking over the details. You stop shrinking every time reality tests you. And this, ironically, gives you more power than you ever had trying to control every step. People often ask me, how do I know if I'm surrendered or if I've just given up? The answer is simple. Surrender feels open. Resignation feels heavy. Surrender feels light in the body. Resignation feels like collapse. Surrender keeps you available to possibility. Resignation shuts the door on magic. So, here's what I want you to reflect on as we prepare to close this loop. Where are you still trying to force outcomes in your life? Where are you gripping so tightly that the energy can't move? And what would it feel like just as an experiment to soften your hold and trust the process? Because here's the truth most people never hear. The universe is wired to support coherence. The field wants to align with you. Life is biased toward evolution, expansion, creation. When you get out of the way, you're not abandoning your power. You're stepping into a deeper current of it. And now, as we move into the final section, we're going to bring everything together. We've explored the subconscious connection. We've looked at coherence. We've understood the mechanics of probability and wave collapse. We've unpacked the paradox of surrender. But none of it matters unless you embody it. In the next section, we'll explore what it means to live as the signal. Not just occasionally, not just when you're meditating or visualizing, but as your default state. This is where you stop trying to create quantum events and start becoming the quantum event. We're almost there. Are you ready to integrate all of this into the way you move through life? Let's continue. Now you understand. You're not here to learn how to control energy. You're here to become it. Because energy responds to energy. The field responds to signal. And quantum events, they don't come to those who chase. They come to those who match. When you walk through life as the signal embodied, coherent, surrendered, the field doesn't hesitate. It organizes itself around you. Circumstances rearrange. Timelines shift. People enter. Doors open. Not because you forced it, not because you earned it, but because you finally stopped pretending to be separate from the current that has always been flowing through you. This is what it means to live as the quantum event. Not as a theory, not as a practice you visit once, a day in meditation, but as a baseline state, a way of being that says, I know who I am. I know what I'm aligned with. I know what I've come to signal into this world. You stop second guessing. You stop asking for permission. You stop waiting for proof before you believe. Because belief is the proof. Identity is the engine. Vibration is the invitation. You don't create from lack. You don't visualize from fear. You don't manifest from maybe. You radiate. And what you radiate becomes inevitable. Let's ground this for a moment. Living as the signal doesn't mean you never wobble. It doesn't mean you never feel doubt, frustration, sadness. It means those states don't dominate anymore. They don't define your vibration. They pass through, but they don't take root. You know who you are beneath them, and that's what the field responds to. Think of yourself like a lighthouse. It doesn't chase ships. It just stands tall, anchored in its own frequency, pulsing a signal through the storm. That's your job. That's the practice. Not to control the waves, but to become the steady light in the middle of them. When you live this way, something changes. People around you feel it. They don't know why, but they feel safer near you, inspired, activated. Opportunities start to arrive out of nowhere. Synchronicities become daily. The right words come to you at the right time. You'll begin to sense that life is responding to you, not reacting, not resisting, not withholding, but listening and reflecting back the energy you now carry. And you'll realize something even more powerful. You've always been this. You just forgot. You forgot that your subconscious is not a storage unit of trauma. It's a broadcast tower of vibration. You forgot that coherence isn't just a nice concept. It's the switch that turns your reality on. You forgot that letting go isn't giving up. It's stepping aside so the field can do what it already knows how to do. You forgot that your very presence is a signal. And now you remember. So what happens now? Now you walk differently. You breathe differently. You speak as someone who's not asking for reality to change, but inviting it into alignment with what's already true. You no longer try to become something. You remember that you already are it. The field doesn't need your effort. It needs your signal. And if you take nothing else from this video, let it be this. The version of you that lives the life you dream of is not somewhere else. It's not in the future. It's not on the other side of endless healing or hustling or earning. That version is in the field right now, entangled with you, waiting for you to stop pretending you're not already connected. So the real question becomes, will you choose to tune to it fully, unapologetically, and consistently, until it becomes the most natural thing in the world? Because when you do, the quantum responds. Drop a word in the comments that describes your next shift. Eat, gan, be, trust, flow, release, or anything that feels right. Your word becomes part of your signal. And if this touched you, hit subscribe. Let's keep growing together. Remember, tease, you are not here to chase change. You are here to become it. And the moment you do,